Hey guys, welcome back to the Real Pop YouTube channel, your number one pit stop for all things Eurovision, and it's time to cast our eyes upon our 12th confirmed entry for this year's Eurovision, and that comes in the form of Ukraine. That's right, in this video I will be reacting to the song Bird of Prey by Ziferblat, which will represent Ukraine at Eurovision this May. And as is always the case with Ukraine, I am definitely excited to see what this has to offer. I mean, Ukraine, the most consistent nation at Eurovision, maybe along with, the likes of Italy and Sweden. Also, they're like the only country left to have qualified for every single final since they joined back in 2004. Ukraine are insane, but they always bring something different for Eurovision, so it's always exciting to learn about their culture through their music, and that will surely be no different here. So definitely interested to see what Ziferblat have to offer and whether they're going to smash it yet again for Ukraine. But before we do begin with the reacting, as ever, you know the drill by now. I am just going to politely remind you to subscribe to this channel. I'm loving the new following who have joined me so far this year, and I'd love to have you, yes you, along for the ride all the way through to May. We're going to have a camp all time, so if you want to come and join me along, give that subscribe button a little push, give this video a like, and hit that bell if you want to be notified every time I upload a new video. But as you can probably hear from my voice, I am a little bit under the weather and trying my best to catch up with Eurovision entries at the moment, so let's not waste any more time. This is Ukraine's entry for 2025, Bird of Prey by Ziferblat. Let's go. Wow. That was a sudden change of pace. I like this staging. Feels like you've been invited to someone's backyard for a little boogie. Is this in English or Ukrainian? I can't work it out. I'm not sure how much of a fan I am of this guy's vocal. It sounds a little bit ropey to me. I like these bits though. They've got like an angelicness to them, but then it hits in with like a rock element out of nowhere and you're like, oh, okay. I like the backing vocals and how they play into it. It's a fun dynamic. I'm just not sure about the actual main singer. It's all very loud and belty, with no real lows and highs, no light and shade to the voice. Is it certainly different for Ukraine though? This is not what I was expecting to hear. I'm also not sure it's what I wanted to hear. I'm on the fence with this currently. I don't want to keep just narrowing in on one part, but I'm just not sure about the lead vocalist here. Usually Ukraine entries really make me feel something. This is making me feel confusion. You see the smile that happens every time that backing vocal returns? I'm like, ah, what a relief. I don't usually feel like this about Ukraine entries. I am unsure how I feel about that.
Confusion.
You never know what to expect from Ukraine. This is completely different to the year before, which was different to Heart of Steel, which was different to Stefania. They're very good at showing a different range of what their country has to offer. This just isn't landing for me, and I thought it was going to at the beginning. I really liked the start and that sort of angelic operatic voice. And then I was like, oh, okay, when we hit into a rockier moment. I wasn't mad at that change of pace. I thought that was quite intriguing, and I thought I was going to like the blend. But I actually didn't find the whole thing very melodic. And that is actually the one time that I would connect with all Ukrainian entries. Even if they're unfamiliar to you or a new genre or they're very different, they're always really good at a melody that sticks in your head. I'm talking the Stefania instrumental. I'm talking Shum sort of chantiness. There's always a melody that gets stuck in your head. But my actual takeaway from this is that it all felt a bit loud and lacking in a proper hook to get lodged in your head, and that's quite rare from Ukraine. And I think that's where my biggest problem lies, is that I just felt like the lead singer was quite harshly shouting at me a lot in not a particularly pleasant way. And in the end, I've left with not much being lodged in my head. I don't know, there's just... maybe I need a few more listens of this. Maybe this is just a bit too experimental for me, and maybe I'm just too dumb to get it, but it's just not sitting with me, and it all felt a little bit messy for me. But what I will also say is that the staging was great, and that's something that Ukraine always bring, and they will make it even better when it gets to Eurovision. They are the masters of selling a song that you're confused by or maybe not 100% sold on, and bringing it into a whole new world, and suddenly everything makes sense. And that could happen with this. As it stands, if I didn't know this was Ukraine sending it, I would be saying this doesn't sound like a qualifier to me. But we know Ukraine's record, and they almost always qualify. So it's hard to say that they won't. But I mean, last year, I guess we all expected Poland to make it through because they so often do with their diaspora. And they didn't. So should that be a lesson to us that anything is possible? Maybe this could be the year that Ukraine don't make it. Could this be a bit too messy and experimental for people? It is to me, but maybe to others that is its charm, and I'm just missing out on something. I definitely don't think this is going to be a favourite of mine, and I think I just have to accept that. And I don't know that I'm ever going to enjoy that lead singer's voice. There's just a certain tone to it that for me was a little bit grating. And I don't like to be negative. Good on Ukraine for trying something new. I certainly wasn't bored. I would rather not like something, but it at least tries to go for something interesting than be bored. And I certainly wasn't bored. I was just more like, I don't think I understand this. And maybe that's just on me. And I'm happy to accept that. I love Ukraine most years. They can't do a 10 out of 10 entry every year. We'll just see if they can qualify. I would say this is their biggest test of whether they've still got enough goodwill to constantly qualify in a long while, because maybe since like Melvin, but even that was stronger than this. So this will be a real test of Ukraine support, because I don't think they've sent anything quite as risky as this until now. So we'll see how it fares. This could be an interesting one to follow. Those are my opinions. What do you think? Do you think I've got this completely wrong? Is this one of your absolute favourites of Eurovision so far? Or are you joining me in not quite getting this and thinking this could be a concern for Ukraine? Let me know what you think down below. Would love to hear the discussion, and maybe some Ukrainians can let me into what this is all about and maybe change my opinion. Always open to that. But for now, that does bring me to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. Sending love to you all in Ukraine as ever, and full support. All the best, and good night.